Before he was great, Albert Einstein was considered a failure. A child so slow, so quiet, that his teachers thought he was hopeless, and his parents feared something was wrong with him. He struggled to speak. He was bored by school. He was mocked by classmates and dismissed by adults. No one, not a single person, believed this awkward boy from a small German town would one day change the way we understand the universe. But behind those silent eyes was a mind unlike any other, one that refused to accept the ordinary rules of reality. Albert Einstein. The name now stands for genius itself. But his story began far from fame, in a little apartment above a grocery shop in the quiet streets of southern Germany. Years later, a passerby could point up and say, "That's where Einstein was born." Even his uncle, when asked about the family, showed no sign that brilliance ran in their blood. No one could have imagined that this boy, who could barely form sentences, would one day redefine time and space. As a student, Einstein frustrated his teachers. They called him lazy, a dreamer, a distraction. He wasn't interested in memorizing. He wanted to understand. He asked questions no one could answer, and when the world told him to stop, he just thought harder. 50 years later, the same boy who had no future became the most celebrated thinker on earth. Nations honored him, universities chased him, and his homeland built monuments in his name, before turning against him when hatred and fear took hold of Germany. Einstein fled, living behind barred doors in Belgium with a policeman guarding him each night, until he finally escaped to America. When his ship arrived in New York, his friends secretly took him off before reporters could find him. Not out of arrogance, but exhaustion. He wanted only peace, study, and his violin. At Princeton, he finally found that peace. But his mind never stopped wandering. He once joked that only 12 people on Earth truly understood his theory of relativity. And when someone asked him to explain it, he smiled and said, "When you sit with a pretty girl for an hour, it feels like a minute. But when you sit on a hot stove for a minute, it feels like an hour." That's relativity. Einstein's wit made the impossible feel simple. His personal life, however, was nothing but ordinary. He married twice, had 2 sons, and lived by rules of his own making, or rather, by having no rules at all. He wore old clothes, seldom a hat, and shaved in the bathtub using the same soap for both shaving and bathing. "Two kinds of soap make life too complicated," he said. His wife often hosted guests for tea, and he would protest furiously, shouting, "No, I won't come. I can't work with these interruptions." But soon she would gently coax him downstairs, and there he would be, sipping tea, smiling, humming himself. Einstein's happiness came not from praise or possessions, but from simplicity, from his work, his violin, and the small sailboat he loved. He said he often thought in music that melodies shaped his imagination. His violin was more than an instrument. It was his companion, his escape, his way of thinking. In a world obsessed with complexity, Einstein found beauty in simplicity. He lived by 2 principles: have no rules and never depend on the opinions of others. Perhaps that is the true secret of his genius.
not his equations, but his freedom. He listened to the rhythm of the universe and dared to ask why it played the way it did. Albert Einstein, the man who taught us that everything, from time to happiness, is relative, and that before he was great, he was just a boy who refused to stop wondering.